Behavioural adaptations help provide a safe and stable family environment which improves the swans' chances of survival. Swans are very territorial, up to 2.5 miles of riverbank, and will attack predators which threaten their cygnets or when the pen is sitting on the nest. Swans build large nests either on or close to the water. The nest building is carried out by both the cob and the pen, although the cob is usually the one to start collecting the material. The nest is usually built high up to avoid flood damage. Sometimes the parents will rebuild a nest if damaged by a flood and make it even higher than before. The eggs are laid over a period of time, usually every second day, but the eggs are not incubated until the last egg is laid, to ensure they all hatch at the same time. Within 24 hours of hatching, the cygnets are on the water learning to swim.
In about April, the female swan lays about 6 of these eggs, and they incubate them for 5 weeks, and so they hatch usually in early May. And what we're looking for now is the babies that have hatched, that have grown from those eggs. And these babies that are here now will become full grown about September, October time and start to fly, and then they leave their parents' homes and go and join usually the flocks that you see in places like Reading and Windsor until they're 3 or 4 years old, when they start to get ready to breed themselves, and they look to find a mate, and they fly around to look for a territory of their own and start again. And if they live to 10 or 12 years old, they're doing quite well. Exceptionally, they make it to 20, but it's very, very unusual.
What do they do with the eggs that don't hatch?
Well, usually they just get broken and left in the nest. Nobody does anything with them.
35 days is a long time for one to sit on.
Well, it is, because if you think about them laying 6 eggs every other day, she lays an egg, and then she lays one 2 days later, 4 days later, 6 days later. So she takes 10 days to lay a clutch of 6 eggs. So she sits on the nest for 10 days more than the 35 days. She doesn't usually leave the nest unattended for more than a few moments. So it's 45 days. It's a long haul. It must be pretty boring. What you're looking at is this March, April, this pair of swans made a nest, and what they do is they go into a place like this in rushes, and they break down rushes and reeds and straw and things, and they just make a big mound. It's not a brilliant architectural device.
Swans are good parents and look after their cygnets, protecting and teaching them how to survive in their environment. They care for them until they are able to fly, usually September or October, though some cygnets will stay with their parents until the spring. Baby swans, cygnets, immediately identify or imprint their parents when they hatch from the egg.
The parents make a big nest of rushes in the spring, and they lay those eggs. They usually lay about 6, and they hatch after 5 weeks. The female has to sit on them for 5 weeks to hatch them off, and then at this time of year they're busy raising the babies from those eggs, and they'll carry on raising them through until September, October, when they're fully grown and big enough to fly, and they'll start to leave off and go into the big flocks. And then in about 3 or 4 years' time, they'll start to be ready to breed themselves, and at that stage they'll go and look for a territory somewhere along the river and find a mate and start the cycle going again, lay their own eggs.